Good afternoon. This is News Around the World on Pensioners 106.7 FM, Agbarigo Onireke, Ibadan. I am Ademola Adeni. First, the top stories. Senate moves to release new strategy on corruption fight. Ethiopia holds referendum on creation of new region. Assailants stab son of a former German president to death. In sports, Mourinho becomes Tottenham's new manager. Welcome on board. Now the news in full. We begin from Nigeria. The Senate President, Senator Ahmad Lawan, said the Red Chamber will release new strategies on corruption fight to the public in the next few weeks. Senator Lawan disclosed this at the two-day National Summit on Diminishing Corruption in the Public Sector, which was held in Abuja. The event was organized by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC, in collaboration with the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, SGF. Lawan, who was represented by Senator Suleiman Kwari, said that the Senate just discovered that the anti-graft war was far from being over, hence the need for the action. President Muhammadu Buhari had earlier at the event declared that Nigerians, especially those at the grassroots, are yet to benefit from the constituency projects by members of the National Assembly, despite over 1 trillion naira sunk into such projects in the last 10 years. In a bid to provide a safe environment, Oyo State Governor Seyi Makinde has inaugurated 100 emergency security patrol vehicles to improve the security architecture of the state. The 100 patrol vehicles, which will be distributed among security agencies in the state, were inaugurated at the Agodi Governor's office in Ibadan. Governor Makinde at the ceremony said the vehicles will be deployed to identifiable key areas across the state to nip criminality in the bud.
I want to, on behalf of the government and people of Oyo State, thank our service commanders for contributing the officers and men that will carry out this task of a secure Oyo State for us. We have the entire Oyo State covered in terms of communication, no matter where in Oyo State. For the criminals, we will get them.
Oyo State Commissioner of Police, Shina Olukolu, who appreciated Governor Makinde's efforts at tightening security, give an assurance that the vehicles will be properly utilized to improve security in the state. Ethiopia. Polls have opened in a referendum in southern Ethiopia on the creation of a new federal regional state to be called Sidama. If the referendum passes as expected, the Sidama ethnic group will make up about 4% of the population, will control local taxes, education, security and laws in a new region. The vote comes ahead of a national election next year. Analysts say the referendum will be closely watched by other ethnic groups hoping to get their own federal regional states. At least 17 people died in clashes in July between the Ethiopian security forces and Sidama activists after the government delayed the poll. Kenya. The agency in charge of wildlife protection in Kenya has disclosed that it will pursue people shown in a viral video hacking an elephant to death. The distressing video was widely shared on Twitter on Monday, with many calling authorities to identify and prosecute the attackers. The 30-second clip shows the animal trying to get up as a group of people use machetes and axes to attack it. The Kenya Wildlife Service revealed in a statement that the incident happened last year in the east of the country after 2 elephants encroached onto some farmlands. The Netherlands. Millions of Dutch pensioners will avoid cuts for their retirement income next year after the government decided to grant pension funds a year's grace period to restore sagging coverage ratios. The government, however, said future cuts and higher premiums remain likely. The change in decision by Prime Minister Mark Rutte's centrist government had been widely expected, given pensioners' anger and the approach of national elections in 2021. But the decision not to enforce the rules could hurt the reputation of the Netherlands pension system, often rated best in the world and framed as an example for other countries. In a letter to the Parliament, Social Affairs Minister Walter Koolmees said he will grant a 1-year grace period to funds that maintain a coverage ratio of better than 90%. The United Kingdom. Boris Johnson and Jeremy Corbyn have clashed over Brexit in their first TV election debate of the campaign ahead of the December 12 general elections. Mr. Johnson promised to end the national mystery on Brexit and said Labour offered only division and deadlock. Mr. Corbyn, on the other hand, said Labour would get Brexit sorted by giving the people the final say. The two leaders also locked horns over the National Health Scheme, trust and leadership, the future of Scotland, and the royal family. Israel. Israel says it has hit dozens of targets in Syria belonging to the Syrian government and Iranian forces. The Israeli military says the wide-scale strikes responded to rockets fired by Iranian units into Israel. Syria says 2 civilians were killed, but Syrian air defenses shot down most of the missiles over the capital, Damascus. Local reports said loud explosions were heard in the city of Damascus. The United States of America. A United States Navy SEAL who was accused of war crimes is expected to be ousted from the elite force, despite being cleared last week by President Donald Trump. Edward Gallagher was accused of stabbing an unarmed 17-year-old Islamic State group prisoner to death and randomly shooting Iraqi civilians. He was acquitted of those charges and convicted only of the lesser charge of posing with the IS prisoner's corpse. Mr. Trump cleared him of wrongdoing against advice from the defense officials. Germany. An assailant has stabbed to death the son of a former German president, Richard von Weizsäcker, in an attack at a Berlin hospital that left one other person seriously injured. The motive for the attack on Fritz von Weizsäcker, aged 59, on Tuesday evening was unclear. Von Weizsäcker, a doctor, had just delivered a lecture on liver diseases at the Schlosspark Hospital in the western Berlin neighborhood of Charlottenburg when he was stabbed. Police say he died at the scene despite efforts to save him. Australia. Heat and winds are threatening to widen Australia's bushfire crisis, with 3 states warned to expect their worst conditions of the season so far. Soaring temperatures in South Australia prompted catastrophic alerts, the highest danger rating on Wednesday. Part of Victoria have been issued the same warning for Thursday, while the threat in Tasmania is also increasing. 6 persons have died since last month in massive bushfires which are burning elsewhere in the country. Those blazes in New South Wales and Queensland have destroyed more than 500 houses and prompted debates on the impact of drought and climate change. This is Pensioners 106.7 FM. We will be back with sport news with Idris Abiola. Please stay tuned.
In sport, Egypt and Ivory Coast are through to the final of the Under-23 semi-final victories. The wins mean the two have secured qualification for the Olympic Games in Tokyo in 2022. Host Egypt beat South Africa 3-0 in their semi, while Ivory Coast overcame Ghana on penalties after a 2-2 draw. The beaten semi-finalists will compete for Africa's final spot in Tokyo in the third place playoff on Friday. Jose Mourinho has been appointed Tottenham manager, succeeding Mauricio Pochettino, who was sacked on Tuesday. The former Chelsea and Manchester United boss signed a contract until the end of the 2022-2023 season, as Spurs chairman Daniel Levy said in Mourinho the club found one of the most successful managers in football. Tottenham reached the Champions League final last season under Pochettino but lost to Liverpool in Madrid. The Argentine, who was appointed in May 2014, failed to win a trophy in his time in charge of the North London club, with Spurs last silverware being the League Cup in 2008. That ends the sport news at this hour on Pensioners 106.7 FM. I am Idris Abiola.
Yes, many thanks to Idris Abiola with the sports news. Now to end news around the world, here is a recap of the main stories. The Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria has vowed to release a new strategy on the fight against corruption in the next few weeks. Ethiopia is holding a referendum on the creation of Sidama region. Assailants have stabbed to death Fritz von Weizsäcker, a son of a former German president. And in sport, former Manchester United and Chelsea coach Jose Mourinho has been appointed as Tottenham Hotspur's new manager. For any information to reach us, please call on these mobile numbers: 080-222-373535. Once again, call on 080-222-373535 or